everybody. My name's Laura. Do it, Maggie, do it.
Oh, my name's Meggie.
Yeah, you're also hosting. Yeah, we read it. This is our podcast. I'm trying this thing where I keep Maggie on their toes. It's really important after this many years of podcasting and friendshipping together. We really have to keep the spark alive.
We really do. In October, that will be our 5-year itch. No, wait, it's 7-year itch. 5-year slump? That's when
Slump?
I don't know. That's when they start talking about the last 5 years, which, guys, if
Yeah.
you don't know, it's a musical.
That's when Maggie and I are going to do an audio reenactment of the last 5 years.
That would be so funny.
And we're both Kathy because we hate Jamie.
Wow, I was going to elect to be Jamie as a gender euphoric experience of being a man, but if we are both Kathy, that's fine. Kathy's the best.
I was going for a more stylistic approach where there's just long pauses throughout this audio recording because there's space for Jamie's notes that are not there.
So we say Kathy's lines synchronistically. That's not a word. People keep calling me out for using words incorrectly on the podcast. So
wow, that's honestly some real fans though.
Thank you. Yeah, I misused artisanal instead of arsenal last time. So
and
thank you guys for that.
Someone online bullied you for it.
Yeah, thank you, TikTok, keeping us humble. And another thing keeping us humble tonight. We are getting into the 100 rebellion, coming off hot of Homecoming, and boy, did they come home, baby. They did.
Yeah, they came home. Yeah. This is the last 100 book. How sad, but we did it.
They move really fast. Like, if you guys are looking for a young adult book to read and you're like, I don't have a lot of time, you can blow through one of these books in like 2 hours.
So fast. Also, the fact that these books take place over the course of literally less than 2 months is actually insane. But I digress.
Oh yeah, they do.
Let's jump into the 100 Rebellion. And we open with a lovely scene. Clark is apple picking with her mom, who she has recently reunited with in the past month. They are preparing for a joint celebration with the Earthborns, who they've made peace with. The bad faction from the last book is no longer an issue. So they finally have peace on Earth as they prepare for this Thanksgiving style celebration.
And Clark's parents have really taken a liking to Bellamy. It seems like
shocking, actually.
Shocking. I'm sure at this point they're just so thrilled to have their daughter back that they're like, yeah, whatever partner you have, we approve of.
Literally.
Crazy thing though, Bellamy does live with them. Moving in with the parents right away.
I mean, hey,
right out the gate of a relationship.
I feel like if you've been ass blasted from your space station in the sky, and a bunch of people died and you've made it, maybe we just have to let things happen how they're happening now.
You're right. Straight timeline is you meet the parents after 2 years. It took you guys a year of fucking to get into a relationship. Lesbian timeline, you meet the parents probably within 3 months. Falling out of the space timeline, the next day.
Yeah, dystopian timelines are way, way different romantically. You gotta let things the chips fall where they may. But Bellamy's not doing so hot after everything that has happened these past few books. He's gonna go up to Clark and instead of saying anything nice or romantic, he is paranoid as all heck. He's like, Clark, I saw a pile of the leaves in the wood the other day and it was suspicious. And she's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Clark really takes on the girl keep gaslight gate boss, but with the right words. That gaslighting her boyfriend. Thank you. She's like, Bellamy, relax. You're just crazy. You got all this PTSD from almost getting executed last book. And it is going to put a little bit of a thorn in their relationship because there's some distrust just brewing.
Mm-hmm.
Wells, meanwhile, he is torturing himself after Sasha died in the last book. He's just pushing himself to extremes, being like, yeah, bring on the pain. He's like carrying these huge barrels.
He's laying on a bed of nails for fun. He's not.
Yeah, just stuff that happens.
Just boy stuff.
Just boy stuff. When your partner dies, what are you gonna do?
All the therapists died in the rogue dropship.
I know.
Can't process his emotions.
We only have doctors. We don't have trained psychologists on hand.
Damn.
I know. And Paul, this guy who came down after them, he seems to be like the de facto leader in charge. And this annoys Wells a ton because Paul is like, well, back when I was a soldier on the ship, and Wells is like, you don't know shit about Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, the TLDR on Paul is he's a huge chode. But
Yeah, Laura sums it up.
yeah, I'm here to paraphrase. Wells sees that R.I.P. Sasha's cabin door is ajar. He goes inside and talks to her dad, Max. They have a really cute connection because it's like they both lost Sasha, and it's like he lost a dad, he lost a kid, and together they can be a family. And we check in with Glass and Luke, who also have their own cabin now. And nobody questions the fact that they're unmarried and living together, which is shocking and appalling.
They don't give a fuck about wedlock. He does, they're making out, and then he's like, oh, no time for you to be a big tease in the morning. I gotta go off to my shift in the guard
Yeah,
tower.
unfortunately, he has to limp off to work. He recovered from his injury, but not fully.
And Glass is like, well, now that my boyfriend is gone and I have no sense of self and no purpose in life, what the heck do I get up to?
And I really wished, listeners, that Meggie was exaggerating, but like Glass truly, like the moment Luke is out of sight, it's like she lacks object permanence. She's like, I have no purpose. Where am I? Who am I? And then she sees Luke again and she's like, oh, there he is.
Exactly. She needs to like meditate, get in touch with
You do
your
some yoga, girl. I don't
internal
know.
self.
Go teach yourself how to swim. They didn't have pools in space. There's so many things you can do.
So she goes up to her one female friend who also doubles as her mom and is like, Mom, what do I do? And Clark is like, how about you go grab some chamomile? We need it so the people who are in the clinic can sleep. And Glass goes, where is that? Clark tries very briefly to tell her where it's at, and Glass goes, where is that? Clark goes, you know what? I'm wasting my time because I'm actually useful. I will just go grab it.
Yeah. And so Glass is putzing on her own little walk, being like, what the fuck is chamomile? And then she sees a pine cone drop from the sky. And she's like, man, this pine cone's crazy. And so she kicks this pine cone. And then the pine cone, get this, listeners, the
Get
pine cone
this.
is not a pine cone. This pine cone, it's a grenade and it fucking explodes. And Glass shoots back and lands on the ground, and there's just a severed hand next to her now. Chaos has ensued.
Casually kicking a grenade. I mean, I understand you haven't been on
It would look
Earth.
like a pine cone. I agree. I agree with the logic there. But man, if she had kicked it a second later, her foot blasted off.
I guess if you're not familiar with what either looks like, but a grenade is so much marginally larger than an acorn. But you've
Well,
never
to
been to
be fair,
Earth.
okay, Maggie, they probably didn't have grenades in space. They also didn't have pine cones in space. So if you're going on descriptors alone, I could see how you would be like, that's a pine cone.
Oh my god, having a grenade in space would be so cool. I know that if you opened the window or the cabinet to, I don't know, go out into space, the gravity and the pressure would pull
Yeah.
you out. But could you imagine throwing a grenade into space and watching it blow up? I bet that shit would be so cool.
That like reminds me of like if there's like the last two people on the space station and for some reason they had grenades, they'd be like, let's throw these into the black abyss that is space and watch what happens.
Oh, fuck. Missed opportunity, Cass Morgan. So, an explosion sets off. She's panicking because she's like, Luke is in the night tower. Remember, that is her sense of purpose, is Luke. She has nothing else going for her. And Luke, the tower that he was at, just decimated. It's gone. They're under attack.
But
Shit is happening.
But shit is happening, and Luke, we learn very quickly, did not make it to the building in time, so he is safe. And as Glass is like getting up to be like, I'm gonna go to my boyfriend who gives me purpose. A man jabs not a knife, a needle in her neck, and she's donezo. She falls to the ground. She is sedated. So these people infiltrated with a plan.
The camp is in utter chaos. Bellamy is next up, being like, where the fuck is everyone I love? Where's Wells, my half brother? Because as we know, they're half brothers. Where's Octavia, my sister? Where's Clark, love of my life? He is hiding under a table with Clark's parents, getting some real parent bonding time in. And it does seem like her mom got shot. So this is the time where the boyfriend can really step up to the plate, prove that
Yeah,
he's the right guy for their daughter.
he's really gonna win her over. But Bellamy's a smart guy. He hears gunfire and he's like, the bad faction doesn't have guns. This is a new competitor.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have a chance to like look and figure it out because he's more just like, ah. But he does find Wells and Eric hiding behind a tree, and they watch a group of people all in white marching in formation very strategically. They are taking captives and they are stealing supplies. And he's like, I gotta go find my girlfriend, my love of my life, and Octavia, who is my sister, and figure out if they're safe.
Bellamy, I kind of love this because it's like when you don't really know where you're going, you make a two stop in the Uber. You're like, I want to go to Taco Bell before I go home.
Yeah.
He passes Octavia with all of the orphan kids hiding. He goes, give me 1 second. Let me make sure that Clark is okay. He goes to the infirmary. Clark is like, why did you pass Octavia? Go back and get all the kids. So he's like, okay, okay, okay. So he goes back to Taco Bell. He's like, I'm ready to pick up my order. Order's been picked up. Octavia's gone.
Yeah, that's what you
Bellamy's got to
really
put in a
snooze,
new
you lose
Taco
on
Bell.
Taco Bell if you're not moving fast enough.
Exactly. Gotta wait for another Crunchwrap Supreme. 20
And
minutes there.
my favorite part about the way this chaos ends is there's like another grenade and another big explosion, and then suddenly all these dudes in white, they're gone. So we know for a fact two things. One, they have guns, and two, they are also magicians.
I was just going to say that if you didn't. Three,
We
they've
gotta make
mastered
magician
card
jokes.
tricks. Wells wakes up and he, alongside some others like Graham, they're shackled together. And the guys in all white are like, no, don't you guys worry. We saved you. So the vibes are set. They're weird. They're rancid.
Yeah, we're learning a lot of things about these dudes on this wagon that we woke up on. They call themselves the Protectors, and they say like weird, eerie things like, we take what we want and dispose of the rest. Like, it's very, very, very chilling if I had to say a word to describe it.
Yeah, they act like they have no autonomy. They say that they're making the world better for us. The people we left for dead, that's just Earth's choice. That we had nothing to do with it. I
Yeah,
guess we
they
were just
say
told by the
they do
Earth.
like a call and response if Earth wills it, often. Um, but they're like, don't worry, we're taking you guys to a safe spot. The Earth wills it.
Yeah,
And
they
they're
let
like, and
them
everything we
know.
do is to keep the Earth safe.
They let them know that they took the strong men and the breedable women. That's I
Yikes.
guess they've been
Man,
chosen.
Maggie, would you feel bad if you found out that they were like, we took your best strong men and best breedable women and you were not in the mix? Would you be like, am I ugly?
If I got taken as a breedable woman, obviously I would feel
Yeah,
misgendered because I feel like a strong man. And then if I wasn't chosen as a strong man,
yeah,
I would also think that they're transphobic because they're not recognizing me as a strong man.
yeah,
Really, I know I'm going to be upset either way because I'm
yeah.
not a strong man. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's one of those that, like, knowing, like, the actual and how the scenario works out, I think I'd be good not being taken, but I'd be sad if, like, my friends had been taken for sure.
Do you think you would do you think you're breedable enough to be taken by the
I don't
protectors?
know. I mean, I think people could look at me and be like, that girl, she's breedable. But I would kind of hate to be labeled as breedable. So I'd be kind of annoyed. I'd be like, why me? What? There's so many other. I'd be the person to be like, are you sure me? There's so many other breedable people back at camp.
Have you seen my hips? They're
I'm like,
not
I'm
childbearing.
30. I'm really aging out of my breedable years.
You could have
There's a
gotten more.
lot of other teens and 20s who are like ready to breed.
Yeah, exactly. They're getting their period
I'm in
regularly.
a committed breeding partnership right now where we've consensually agreed that we're not going to breed. So if you could just take that vibe and pick someone else.
They're like, please throw her off the wagon. She won't shut the fuck up. So they also, the protectors have stocked up on a ton of shit that they have stolen from the colonists. So the colonists are just really empty handed on top of all of their buildings getting blown the fuck up.
Yeah, back at camp, we learned that 22 people have perished, so they're all burying them. And we've also learned that 19 people are missing. That's 19 breeders and breedees taken.
Going off in breed to breed combat.
I'm so sorry I had to say that. I didn't have it written down. I was just like, let's go with where my mind is taking me.
I think you should always trust your gut. Meanwhile, back at camp, Bellamy is sort of blaming all of this on Clark because he's talking to Rhodes and Max. He's like, listen, suspicious leaves. I was on to something with them. And she's like, hey, you know what? I'm really sorry about it. And he's like, that's okay. We will just do better now. He announces to the group that they're going to take the 3 guns, they only have 3 guns left, to hunt the attackers and some people do agree. They're like, We'll go with you."
Yeah, so Clark is gonna go just in case they need medical assistance. And
Mhm.
Paul, he's
Chode
gonna come
Paul.
too. And he's like immediately not being helpful. But more on that later. He's kind of got a shifty vibe to him. I don't like it.
He
But we're
does.
gonna check in with the girls' wagon, where Glass has also woken with 7 other breedies.
Yep.
They are fast approaching a massive ivy wall where these people live. And they're getting the tea too. They're like, la di da. Our leader is Soren. Soren is the Earth's mouth. And this is our fortress. It is called the Stone. And Maggie, did you get that this fortress was the Pentagon?
Okay, I wrote down that it was shaped like the
But
Pentagon
but yeah,
because the Pentagon, I mean, I guess they are in Virginia, but the Pentagon is way too big for what I expected. Like,
but
was
it's
it a
like the thing
section
is
of the
they do talk
Pentagon?
about that this is kind of like a ruined Pentagon and it's made of stone. So I meant to Google before this if the Pentagon's made of stone, but I'm not sure. So and I didn't do that. So
I absolutely do not think the Pentagon is made of stone, but they are in a Pentagon shape, or maybe the Pentagon. We're not supposed to know.
a TBD Pentagon.
A TBD Pentagon, and once they get to the girls' den, there's this girl named Anna from the colony. They realize that a dropship went way off base, and she is also from there. And her and Octavia, they're kind of vibing. They're
They're
kind of
kind of
feeling each
vibing.
other.
Yeah, this room I have to emphasize is like they call it a den, but it's just like a room with like mats on the floor. So very yoga studio, and there's over 2 dozen other women in there who are all wearing white dresses. Anna gives them the lowdown. She's like, "Hey, I was on a drop ship that also did not reach you guys. We tried to split up. Stupid idea." And we got abducted by these people. I've been here for a few weeks. All we really do is a bunch of chores and shit all day. So that's what you guys have to look forward to.
She does kind of hint at the fact that eventually they might be sex slaves, maybe.
Ugh.
It doesn't seem like even she knows, but that is the TLDR. Also, the other TLDR is the Pentagon is made of concrete, steel, and reinforced limestone. So I guess kind of limestone? Still
Yeah.
don't know. Still
Yep.
don't know.
But anyway, the boys group did not get such a warm welcome to a room with yoga mats on the floor. The
No.
boys got to the stone. They were washed, dressed, and immediately forced to run like a lot. And they're
Yeah, I
basically
could do
being drill
that.
sergeanted by these
Yeah.
guys, basically being like, "We need to weed out the weak. We need to weed out the people who aren't loyal." They get a brief like little lunch session, and then immediately are like running again, which sounds like an awful course of events to
Yeah, I
eat
could do
and then
that.
immediately start running again.
Yeah, I could definitely do that. I guess I would
And
easily
that
be
that could be
brainwashed because
yeah.
I would be like, You don't think I can fucking be a guy?" And then I
Yep,
would, and
yeah,
now
and
I'm
then they get put into a room of cages, so no yoga mats, just cages.
just cages. Yep, they're in the cages for the night. Wells agrees with Eric and Graham. They gotta play the long game. They gotta play it cool if they're gonna get out of there. Back at camp, the people are gearing up to leave. Bellamy and Clark getting ready to go out. Bellamy and Paul kind of having a bit of a power struggle, and it seems like Clark is maybe gonna be in the middle of that.
Yeah, Paul's being a chode
Unfortunately.
again. He's like, "What if we march in formation on our mission?" And Bellamy's like, "No, that's stupid. There's 6 of us. We're just gonna walk all in a line. It'll be fine." Clark's mediating. She's doing fine. They walk for a while and they're finally gonna rest at night. And Bellamy and Clark, they're gonna have a little cuddly moment. But Bellamy starts immediately getting paranoid as they're having this cute little moment. And it's still like, "You don't trust me, Clark. You don't trust me at all. And you think I'm an idiot." And it's like, "You are projecting, my guy."
Yeah, absolutely. There are differences because Bellamy is like, we should storm the Capitol, essentially. We should attack the camp. And Clark is like, what if we just tried to peacefully negotiate and get the hostages out? So, two different forms of government. I guess neither of them ever really work.
No.
And Bellamy's like, you're such a buzzkill. I want to use guns.
I want to use our 3 guns that we brought with
Use our
us.
3 guns to take down this massive camp.
Meanwhile, Glass and the others are given white dresses, and a woman in gray is inspecting them, which we do not like the vibes of. They're getting
Mm-mm.
a tour of the stone. They're like, this is the kitchen, and this is where we do this thing. And you all are going to start tasks tomorrow to see where your purpose is. And now we're going to take you to meet Soren, Earth's mouthpiece. And
Earth's mouthpiece.
Glass is clocking in. She's like, wait a minute. They've been stealing food and supplies from all over. That sucks. And she immediately calls them thieves, which is a bad idea because they have full autonomy over her as a prisoner.
Absolutely. She says thieves. Soren's like, interesting you see it that way. I disagree. And we cut to them baptizing the ladies in the river. Ooh,
Hmm.
and this is when Wells and the gang show up. You know, the boys. They are like, Jesus fucking Christ, what is happening with the women? And after this, they get to have a little picnic where he sits near Glass and Octavia. And the plan is they're going to agree to keep quiet. They're going to be complicit for a little bit until they figure out next moves because it's not like they have weapons and they can't overpower these people.
It's very important here to know that Wells is clocking that something's a little off about Glass. She doesn't seem as like energized about the plan, and it's also starting to seem like Glass really liked what Soren was saying about like being one with the earth and having purpose. Glass is like, maybe I fit in here. It's bad.
Yeah.
um Bellany and company, they make it to the stone. They're like, man, that's a huge pentagon shaped structure. And there's tension between Clark and Bellamy still. They like find another fallen building that they're going to make camp in. And this is a lot of he said, she said, mugamoo. Because Bellamy's annoyed that Paul's being friendly to Clark. Clark's being annoyed that Bellamy's being standoffish. And Bellamy's going to leave to go hang out with Felix and investigate this building.
Yeah, because Paul and Clark have become friends because they mutually like the mutated animals. They're like, look at this plant. Look at this frog that has wings,
Yeah.
too. And so they've really been bonding on this walk. So while Bellamy is off, just kind of perusing the premises, he studies the building and he realizes there's these kind of hollow hallways. And he's like, okay, now we are cooking. While Felix and him are searching this compound, the ground drops from underneath Felix, kind of plops him into a bunker where all the surplus weapons are, which rocks for them. That rules that they just happened upon it.
Yeah.
And
And
they're like,
they
oh, yeah, we're going to take some grenades.
Yeah, and they also spot some women in gray doing a wind ritual outside, talking to the earth. And Bellamy's like, this feels so fucked up because they're like, if the wind is blowing, we agree that the earth is ready. And Bellamy's like, she would have just said whatever the weather was. So
Yeah, he's
Bellamy's
like,
not buying it.
what if the wind wasn't blowing?
Yeah,
Then she still wins because she
yeah.
can just lie.
Glass is woken up in the wee hours of the morning by Soren's advisor, Margot, and she is taken to Soren's room and learns that she's going to be Soren's new maid. That's her new job. And she's first like, wait, this sounds bad. But then she finds out this is like an honor and like a shoe in way to get a promotion here at the Stone. Soren even takes Glass on a walk, and Glass is like, wow, I really feel like I'm being taken in and being taken care of. I love my new role.
I like that she got this role because she was like, what if instead of stealing, you plant a garden? And it kind of seems like an idea they'd never kind of thought of
Yeah.
before, which is crazy. How long have you been operating? How are
I
you
don't
not
know.
self sufficient at this point? Glass is drinking the Kool Aid. She is
She really
fully in.
she drinks the Kool-Aid so fast. She doesn't even stop to like breathe. She's like, this Kool-Aid's good.
And you know why she's drinking the Kool Aid? She is like, wow, no one except my boyfriend has ever validated my existence. Baby, that comes from within.
God, and that's why we hate that there's no therapists back at camp.
Yeah.
They really should have prioritized at least one coming down with them.
Sent Meggie and Laura there in a Corvette
Yeah, absolutely.
convertible.
Wells is in his third day of training, and he's doing well. He's really playing the part. He's like, I am strong, I am trustworthy, and we are still planning to escape.
Yeah, the head protector Oak didn't punch him today, so he's feeling pretty great.
Yeah, and they trust him enough to let him just like go and wander around the stone so he can like see what's up. And this is where Wells sees that they have brought in supplies from another raid. So he's like, "Oh, these guys freaking suck."
Mhm. He is examining this stone building nearby. He finds Octavia with Anna in there, who Octavia does tell Wells, she's like, "We are done. We're gonna get out because a protector basically forced himself on Anna, and we don't fucking like that." And Wells is like, "I get it sucks. We need to wait. You're not gonna wanna hear that. I understand." And Octavia's like, one little wrench in the plan. Glass is drinking the Kool-Aid. She is Soren's secondhand man and she loves it. She's positively obsessed.
Yeah, basically. Clark, meanwhile, back at the recon camp, she's really worried about Bellamy and Felix's like mass destruction weapon plan. She's like, I really think we could just do a peaceful negotiation. I
Mhm.
really think this would work. I really don't want to keep fighting. And so then this like group of six is going back and forth, spatting with each other on violence versus peace.
Mm.
And Paul, who's again very intense and very shifty, he escalates it too much. He threatens to restrain Bellamy and ultimately does. And since Clark doesn't stop him from doing this, Bellamy is immediately pissed at Clark.
Yeah, Bellamy gets cuffed up to make sure he doesn't bomb anything. Clark does apologize, but damn, he's mad. And Bellamy, low blow. Listen, I get it. You had a little kerfuffle with your
Yeah.
girlfriend, but while restrained, he starts accusing Clark of only dating people to social climb. He's like, "Great, you had Wells on the ship, which ruled for you then. You had the best hunter, me, on Earth for a while. And now here comes hot little young thing Paul, being a soldier, a leader, and very low blow."
Yeah, and to make matters worse, he brings up her mercy killing Lily again as like twist of the knife, and she's like, "You did the same thing with like Chancellor Jaha," and so he's like, "Shut up." But anyway,
Exactly.
meanwhile, back in the stone, Glass is finally feeling useful. She's helping Soren with her morning routine, but she's immediately taken aback when she overhears Soren and Margot talking about her. Soren is like, I don't think like Glass is really going to pair well. And the Glass is like, what's that supposed to mean? And Soren's like, we're preparing for the pairing ceremony. And this is what we do to welcome our new members. And Glass is like, this doesn't sound very good. I should warn the others. But she doesn't just yet. She doesn't know what this pairing ceremony is. And so she's gonna sit on it for a second.
I do love this because it's like when your friend catches you in a lie and you try to go about being like, "Oh, we weren't texting about you. We were texting about insert whatever it was that I'm going to lie about here." Because the two ladies in gray or whatever in charge are like, "Let us tell you about a story about this mountain in the west. We met all these people and we had to do this thing that made it more peaceful." It
Yeah,
was
and
that vague. I'd be like,
it's
"What does
super
that mean?"
vague. Meanwhile, Wells's training group is split into two. Some people are going to keep running. Other people are going on a little field trip, and Wells is one of those people. So is Graham. They're taken to like an old abandoned farm for a raid to look to see if there's anything that they can steal. And they're both given guns to complete this raid. They wind up in the basement of this farmhouse. They see some like dried like peaches and stuff, but they also find a kid's toy in the basement. And this really sets Graham off. He immediately runs out of the house and starts shooting and screaming at the protectors, which the protectors don't like that. So
No, they're
they
not really
really don't
great
like
with
being
that.
shot at. They sedate Graham and make Wells drag him back to the kennels back at camp.
Yeah, and now Wells is like, "The fuck? How are we gonna get out of here?" Back at Recon,
Oh
Paul
no.
tells Clark, guess what? Hey, you're not gonna be the one who's negotiating the release of the hostages. We sent Cooper out. We're gonna have Vale watch over him." And she's really upset about this. To make matters worse, she catches Jessa, whoever the fuck that is,
Yep.
and Bellamy talking really close. Their foreheads are touching.
Yeah, and it's the vibes
Okay.
are bad. Vale, another person on this recon mission, comes back and says Cooper was let into the stone.
Okay.
So everyone's hooping and hollering. Paul like whirls Clark into the air and kisses her on the cheek, which also just burns Bellamy's core. He's like,
Yeah.
Paul's a little fucking snake. But Bellamy's like, they don't know that I've been plotting my explosives plan with Jessa. And I feel bad that I'm not talking about it with Clark because I do have a conscience.
Mm.
But this plan's going to go forward tonight.
Yep. So him and Luke are going to try to steal all the weapons tonight, and that's what it is. Soren,
Meanwhile, oh, sorry,
yeah.
go ahead.
No,
Oh,
you go.
I was gonna say Soren's finally building up to what the hell this pairing ceremony
I
is.
know.
And all it is she picks two lucky people and they get to have sex in front of everybody.
Ugh, worst game show ever.
Yeah, there's no grand prize or nothing.
Everyone is going to surround you. You have to have missionary style sex, not even the fun sex, in front of everyone as everyone starts chanting, child, child, child. Because the point of this pairing ceremony is you need to get pregnant. If, as you recall, the most breedable women, the
Yeah.
most breedy men, they're going to come
Yeah.
together in a breed to breed, head to
And
toe combat.
And Soren's a girl's girl. She's like, I understand, Glass, that you might be really uncomfortable with the concept of me making you have sex in front of everybody, but you want to be paired with your bestie Wells. Do you think that would make you feel a little bit more comfortable in the pairing ceremony that I'm orchestrating?
Incredible too because she doesn't have the context that they're best friends. She's like, "You guys seem to get along quite a bit, so maybe it's a crush."
And Glass is finally like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I need to tell the other people about the things I've been hearing and seeing. And she's gonna run up to go tell Octavia and Anna, but instead she's gonna find them making out behind a little curtain.
Ugh, too bad the pairing ceremony is not consensual and also queer friendly, but
Oh,
mostly consensual. So they are making out, and Octavia is like, Glass, you need to kill Soren. And Glass is like, what if we came up with any other plan because I do kind of like her as a
Glass is
person.
like, we all want to go. Do we want to go back to the boat thing we saw earlier? The boats that are outside. Maybe we could do the boats thing instead of me killing someone that I have access to at all hours of the day, even in their private time.
Yeah, that everyone listens to. Like, if she killed the head of state, it would all fall apart.
It's
But
vampire
anything.
logic. If you kill the head vampire, all the other vampires die.
Exactly. We know how bees work. But she says, let's go find Wells first. So Wells is having a fucking day. Leave him alone. Oak is putting Wells to the test by telling him he has to take Graham into the woods and shoot him. And Wells is like, easy peasy. I hate this son of a bitch.
Yeah, but that's part of the it's an
It's
act.
part of
He's
the bit.
he's trying to throw Graham under the bus so it doesn't
And
like so he doesn't
scene.
throw him out. But Oak takes Wells. Oak's the name of the guy that's like making him do it. Oak takes Wells and Graham outside, and he's like, "Go ahead. This workhorse ain't working anymore. Shoot him."
Mhm.
And Oak turns his back. He's really trusting Wells. And Wells literally turns to go shoot Oak because he is not going to kill Graham. And Graham's like, "No, dude, no. Like." You're not getting out of this if you don't shoot me.
Yeah, Graham is like, listen, Wells, I overheard everything you said about me, and I kind of am a piece of shit, and I deserve to die. And Wells is like, I think that there is so many other options that we could take right now. And Graham kind of wrestles the gun out of Wells's hands and shoots himself.
Oh, I didn't read it like that. I read it that like Wells is holding the gun and Graham's on the ground and he reaches for the trigger while it's in Wells's hand so Wells doesn't have time to react.
So you think that Wells had the gun cocked? I thought that he like got it
No, no,
from
I don't.
Wells and
I
killed
think
himself.
he was definitely holding it, but I don't think because it happened so fast. At least
Oh.
that's how I read it.
I don't know. Well,
Yeah.
either intentionally or unintentionally, Graham does kill himself. Wells is shocked by it, and Oak comes over, pats him on the shoulder, goes, "Well done, buddy. The protectors love you now for killing your friend."
Yeah, and he gives him a bag of Skittles as a treat.
Yeah, that's the swag bag you get for
He's
killing
like, "Yeah,
someone you
you did
like.
good work today, Wells. Here's a green Skittle."
You get to
Uh,
go home with a toothbrush and some floss.
Luke and Bellamy, meanwhile, it's recon time. They go into the weapon pit. They're feeling their sacks with weapons like a weird Christmas Santa thing. Um, and Bellamy is going to go deeper inside the stone. He's going to find Lena, who is another one of their camp members who have been stolen. And she's like kind of in a trance serving food. So Bellamy's like, shit, that girl is brainwashed.
Yeah, they do manage to steal a ton of weapons, though,
Good
and
for
bring them
them.
back with them. Good for them.
It was nice of them to bring their Christmas sack-sized sacks with them.
Yeah, they're really doing a ho 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 off and hauling shit back to their camp. Clark, meanwhile, is stumbling through the woods. She's like, hey, that's crazy. I didn't really know that they had scarecrows out here. There's not even a garden, there's not even land nearby that it should be overlooking. She gets a little bit closer. It is a body filled with hay, sacks, we don't really know. But it is not a scarecrow head. Instead, on a spike is Cooper's head, and that could have been her. So she is
Yeah,
freaking out. She is
and
yelling for Bellamy's name.
Cooper's head is not like Cooper's normal severed head. It looks awful and puffy and bad. They have, like,
Mm.
malformed him. It also has serve or die written on this scarecrow's body. It's bad. Paul runs over to the rescue because he's falling in love with Clark, sees a scarecrow with a severed head on it, immediately runs the other way because he's a coward.
Also, serve or die. You had your chance to pick me as one of the strongest
Yeah,
men in
you
the
said I
camp.
wasn't breedable. I can't serve.
Exactly. I'm not your sloppy seconds, okay? So Bellamy does catch up, notices Paul scrambling about, is like, Luke, hold him down. And Paul says, I had nothing to do with this. I am just done. I don't want to be here anymore. Clark is like, you fucking coward. Are you kidding? And this is when Bellamy is like, wow, I do love her. Because again, you guys are on the same page. You just had different ways of getting to the
Yeah, they
same
just,
conclusion.
I mean, they've only been dating for like a month, so I don't blame them for having miscommunications, but they really need to work on that given the circumstances.
Exactly.
Oak is gonna take Wells to eat after shooting his friend Graham because he could use a snack, I guess. And Octavia serves him dinner, and they're like, "Yo, so glad to see you. We gotta get out of here." And Wells is like, "Okay, what if we try to outnumber them at the mating ceremony? Because we feel like there's not gonna be that many guards at the mating ceremony, and I think we can run to the boats."
Yes, because the number of recruits are going to vastly outnumber the number of protectors, which is great. Um, Wells does, once he gets back to his camp, the protectors are like, hey, Wells, what's up? That was so sick when you killed your friend. And he's trying to figure out when he's going to talk to all the boy recruits to try to unionize them. He gives a big speech in the morning, and he's doing pretty good.
This
He's like,
is very like end of a sports movie. We're gonna go out
yes,
there and win, guys. Speech. It is really winning over these other recruits.
yeah, he's like, they don't get to take our homes, they don't get to expect us to be complacent. And just as he's really hitting his Coach Carter stride of the speech, someone starts blowing up the walls outside. I mean, talk about, really cutting him from underneath. He
Wells
was
is like,
giving the
so
best monologue.
we're not doing my plan. We're doing who did the walls thing. We're not doing. Are we still doing the boats thing, or is the walls thing? Was that a plan B?
So he starts gathering the boys to get out. Glass, the next day, she's also gathering the girls. She's like, listen, we are about to have sex with men that we don't want to have sex with. And Octavia is like, do not worry, I met up with Wells, we got a plan, we're gonna go to the boats. As they are walking into the heart of stone, Soren just perched on it. How did you visualize this?
Yeah, because they describe it as a gazebo made of bones, like human bones. So I pictured it like a gazebo made of bones
Yeah,
that she's like perched under the archway of.
I guess when I saw gazebo, yeah, okay, that makes sense because I thought she was sitting on top of it, so I just thought it was a really tall throne.
No, oh no, I pictured it kind of. Yeah, no, I pictured when they said gazebo, so I
Okay, that makes
really went
sense.
with gazebo. I pictured her under the archway to the entrance of said gazebo.
I'm gonna compromise. She's under the gazebo, also on a throne of bones.
Yeah, bone
So
throne.
she's on she's on Bone Throne. She's also giving an Oscar-winning speech.
Yeah, she's like, "We're really gonna get out here and pair it up today, ladies." Very, very end of a sports
We're
movie.
gonna
Like we're gonna,
argue the one it. You guys are going to find your perfect match, and we're gonna hit those spotlights.
yeah. And after this speech, Glass is finally like, "Oh my god, this is a cult!" Like it took her up until this moment of seeing Soren on her fucking bone throne for her to be like, "Oh, oh, this is a cult." Like,
So
not even when she told her that, "Oh, we're gonna make you guys have sex with people," it wasn't until she saw like Soren on the bone throne that she was like, "I'm about to be forced to have sex with someone. I'm in a cult."
Yeah, exactly, because someone forcing you to have sex with someone else, that would raise quite a few red flags, but
So many red
she is
flags.
still kinda like, "I mean, this kinda makes me uncomfortable, but not uncomfortable enough to
She's
kill
like, "Well,
this
if it gives me
woman."
purpose, I guess what's the issue?"
Guess what's the issue? And here she's like, "Listen, I just want one more word with my mother." She gives the instructions for the girls to leave, so she's gonna stay behind, I guess. And as she is staying behind, the explosions go off. Soren gets trapped under the bones and is like, "Glass, thank God you're here. You have to help me out."
Yeah, and Glass calls her a parasite, flips her off. She does call her a parasite. The flipping off, I'll say it. I elaborated. I added some color in there.
That's okay. We
Um,
needed that.
but Glass runs off as Soren is screaming under the throes of her bone throne, and
Yeah, that
we
rules.
really went in on the bone throne. I'm really excited about
I
it.
like it. Me too.
Meanwhile, Clark and Bellamy and company are running through the stone. They do split up. Clark is able to find Wells and the others, and they find the girls next. I'm actually surprised that they all found each other so quickly. I really thought that was going to be a bigger thing, but no. And
Yep.
Bellamy's like, "It's gonna blow. We
Mhm.
gotta run." So they're all running to where the boats are because they're doing the boats plan.
Yeah.
And they get outside just as like the rest of the structure is starting to fall.
Mhm. On their way out, a woman does attack Clark. Wells subdues this woman and takes her prisoner. They're like, "Hey, now that we found the girls, now that we found the guys, now that we're back to being a co-ed dormitory, we're gonna take her prisoner. We need something to argue with." But they also already have all the weapons. Like, and
Yeah.
they're and Soren's dead. The leader is dead.
Yeah. Glass crawls out of the rubble, being like, "She's gone. She killed under the weight of the bones from the throne." And people are like, "Oh, Glass, you're still here. We thought you were really into the cult stuff." Um,
No, but Glass, this is okay. So Glass found her own purpose. It did happen to be Colt, oopsies, but she found her real purpose, which is Luke, who
yeah,
she
she
gets to
sees Luke
reunite with.
again, and she immediately is like, "That's my purpose. I'm fine."
I forgot.
Object permanence, I'm telling you.
I was led astray a little bit. I really liked the cult thing, but that's not me. I wasn't given another. That's also crazy too that the only time that she felt the most like herself was in a cult. She really has no idea who
Well,
she
isn't it also
is.
weird that she like didn't like seem to think about like what's Luke up to once while she was there? Like he was out of sight, out of mind. She's like, "Well, yeah, I guess like he's gone." So
I know, even the pairing ceremony, I felt like it was kind of crazy that she was just like not like I don't think the driving force of her trying to overtake Soren was being like I have another boyfriend. I think that she was just like I don't want to do, which is fine. That's good to have autonomy. But I feel like she wasn't the minute she got to this camp, she completely forgot about him.
yeah, she was like, "They got a yoga mat studio for me to sleep on. I'm good."
Oh my god, hot yoga is free here? Okay, that would get me. Hot
But
yoga is expensive.
company basically realizes that vampire logic is true. Without Soren, all of these protectors and cultists are nothing. They're not going to regroup. They don't have their Earth Mother anymore. So this is no longer a obstacle in their way. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, and the cult is gone. And Glass finally has another sense of home now that she sees a man gazing at her again.
Life is good.
Yeah.
They are all walking back. They're talking about how the new people are going to come home. And then what? I guess they're going to have to rebuild a new home. Octavia's talking about Anna in a way that Bellamy kind of latches onto the fact that they are dating. And Bellamy's like, okay, your girlfriend sounds great. Bellamy kind of has a little talk with Anna, notices she's got a big, dry sense of humor, and is like, oh, I'm obsessed with her.
Yeah.
Wow. And Bellamy does agree it is good for the new recruits to be a part of the camp too, because he is like the only person hunting. So maybe they can pick up the slack where everyone else sucks, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So it takes them 2 days to get back to camp. And they're welcoming all the new people in, like, welcome. You guys are replacing the 22 who have recently perished.
I know, that's great. They have
Yeah.
space
We
now.
haven't lost any numbers. We evened out.
Mhm.
And Clark is hanging with her parents as they start to rebuild. And our series of the 100 ends with Bellamy asking if he can show Clark something. And he shows her like a little, clearing that's, has a good view of the sky. And he asks her if he likes the view. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, I was thinking this would be a great spot for our very own cabin.
And he kneels to the ground. He proposes to her with her mother's ring that seems to be a family heirloom, which is
Yeah.
really cool that they preserved that. And she says yes. And they end the book series of the 100 on the words welcome home, which is very sweet.
Very, very sweet. I was excited for a happy ending, and I'm so excited that Bellamy and Clark end up together because they really fumbled this in the TV series. So,
Are you serious?
oh yeah, they don't date at all in the TV series.
Wait, what do you mean?
They don't. They don't date at all in the TV series. They like kind of hint
Why?
at it through like the first few seasons, and then they just drop it as a plot. I should really get into this in our wrap up series, Maggie,
Okay.
because it
You guys,
won't make any sense.
okay, we'll pause. Join next week for all of those thoughts because I'm confused.
I'm gonna tell you so many things, Maggie. You're gonna be like, "What?"
Okay, I'm so excited to just react the entire time. And I don't have a segue, but let's just get right into the ranking of characters and where they stand this week at the bottom of the pyramid. You may be shocked because it ended on such a happy ending, but we are putting Bellamy at the bottom. He just weaponized Clark's insecurities and pain against
Yeah.
her,
Yeah, what
and that
really clocked him
sucks.
there was him accusing her of using men to advance herself, in life. That was really problematic to us. So yeah.
Especially because she is a very well-rounded female protagonist who has a sense of self. She clearly follows her heart and has a resounding sense of morals and ethics.
Yeah. But I gotta be honest, it was pretty tight between these bottom two because coming in at number three is Glass. Because she drank the Kool-Aid so fast. I yearned for Glass's arc, I think, as this series went on, to be a little bit more of a like a stronger protagonist, but she really just at every turn, I think, shows us who she really is as somebody who likes to be told what to do, and
Yeah.
the reality of her not acting enough when she was given the most power in the stone was really, really disappointing.
Yeah, I wish that it would have gone differently. I do think for her particular character, it makes a lot of sense that
Yeah.
the only time she felt seen was when it was in a cult, and that's really sad. So we're hoping by age 28, she's got it figured out.
Well,
I'll say
okay, but
28.
we're doing dystopian time, so she's got 2 years max to figure it out,
She's
Maggie.
got 2 years max to figure it out. We'll check back in then.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 2, we are giving it to Clark this book. I mean, she did great, but she was doubting her boyfriend. You gotta trust your partner, otherwise, why are you with them?
Yeah, and I think Clark was being a little too nice this book. Her while her thought for a peaceful negotiation was like a nice gesture, I think she really needed to realize the severity of the situation, because she also indirectly with that logic got somebody scarecrowed, which is
Yeah,
very
that
fucked.
sucks. I can't
Yeah.
believe she has to live with that guilt forever.
And number 1, really from the bottom, from the first book to the top of the last book,
Yep.
Wells. Wells, I think, has, probably the best arc in this series. I could go back on that, but I'm gonna say right now, he has a very good
No,
arc in this
I
series.
really think so. I think that he really grew, and he also was kind of the only one, well, not the only one, but to me, the one that had to deal with the most paramount grief because we
Yeah.
actually got to intimately know Sasha. So I really feel for Wells.
Yeah, no, and to watch someone lead not out of wanting to lead, but leading out of necessity and what he thinks is right.
Uh-huh.
And him also like having to face the trials of that and also becoming better because of it. Well done, Cass Morgan. Well freaking done.
I completely agree. And moving on from that, we get to our top 5.
Woo.
Ooh,
This is
it is
all right. Maggie and I
great.
thought really hard on this one. No, it was Maggie's idea, and it was a really good one. Maggie came
Oh,
in
that's really
blazing with
sweet.
this one.
Thank
This
you.
is the top 5 other rituals that our cultists have. We saw the cool wind one. We heard about the pairing ceremony. Bummer that that one got that one got canceled.
We were really
That sucks. We'll try again next
yeah.
year. These are their other top 5 rituals that our cultists could possibly do. Maggie, you should come in with number 5.
Coming in at number 5, I just kinda think a weekly talent show would really build character,
Wow,
show off their
weekly?
skills.
That's
I
impressive.
Yeah, I put weekly in there because I think that you're always when you don't have a phone, you don't have
Mm,
technology to distract you, I'm sure that they are coming up with new hobbies every week.
that's so true. Coming in at number 4, we have that they have their own Olympics. They live outside, of course, they can have their own Olympics. But the only event that they do is synchronized swimming, which we know that they could do because they live right by a lake.
Absolutely, and I'm sure that they would kill at it. They do a great job. Coming in at number 3, this one was Laura's classic idea. We think that they should have a Hungry Hungry Hippos ceremony.
And they can divide up their food that way. What a fun idea.
Yeah.
Um, Coming in at number 2, we learned about the bone throne gazebo made of bones in this book. We think they could have a craft night to make gazebos out of other less threatening materials that are not bones, maybe flowers or vines, wood, anything that's not bones. It seems like a good
Twigs.
use of time.
Really? Yeah, exactly. And plus it would probably reduce the smell by quite a lot.
I mean, I imagine they cleaned the bones before making that throne, Meg.
I know, but I'm sure there's residue. And
Yeah.
coming in at number 1, we think a dirt eating contest would just really wet their whistles.
What do you win if you eat the most dirt? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not in a cult. I don't know.
Fuck Nathan's hot dog eating contest on the 4th of July. We have dirt eating contest every month on Fridays at midnight.
Yikes, a horrible time slot. Maybe they'll get to like a 6 p.m. slot one day, but no, sucks that they're on midnight.
Digest overnight.
Wow. And that's going to be it for the 100 Rebellion. They really rebelled. They lived, they longed, they prospered. And we're going to be
Mhm.
back next week with our final thoughts, where we give our final thoughts on the 100. I'm going to yap at Meggie a lot about the
I
differences between
can't wait
the
to
book and the
react.
show. You're going to be like, you're going to be like, this is so different. I'm like, it's so similar, but it's so different.
Yeah.
I can't wait to tell you how the TV show ends, because you're gonna be like, wait, what the actual fuck?
Oh
It's
my god, I
awful.
can't wait.
It's
So
awful.
book and TV enthusiasts, join us then, and we can't wait. And in the meantime, mostly join us on TikTok. I'm posting a lot at Yeah We Read It, and send us an email at Meggie and Laura Present. We will see you next week.
Okay, bye.